Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to do a revisit of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus in 2023. This phone was launched in 2019 and it has been officially 4 years since I am using this phone as my primary. Today we are going to look at how does this 4-year-old Samsung flagship stand in 2023. Starting with the build and design of this phone has an aluminum frame on the sides and has Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and Gorilla Glass 5 on the back. And it has IP68 dust and water resistance up to 1.5 meter for 30 minutes. It weighs around 175 grams and feels very light in hand as compared to my 14 Pro Max. Now coming over to the front of the device, this phone has a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display with a resolution of 1440p by 3040 pixels, giving a pixel density of 522 pixels per inch. As you can see, this phone has a pretty gorgeous and stunning display. As you can see, there are very small bezels surrounding the display. Like there is a chin, but it is okay according to 2023 standards. And it does have a pill shape cutout at the front, as it has two selfie cameras compared to one found on the Galaxy S10e. Now coming over to the ports, this phone has an headphone jack and Type-C port which supports up to 15 watts of fast charging, a microphone, and this is the primary speaker. The secondary is in the earpiece, and this was the last Samsung phone which had an headphone jack. On the right side we have the power on and off button. On the top we have SIM slot which does support dual SIM as well as micro SD card expansion. On the left side we have volume rockers and Bixby button. I have been using this phone with a case which was included with the box. As you can see, this was a case which actually came in the box. This was always used in case, and it had a screen protector which you can see it is scratched up a little bit. I have to change it. And one problem with the build quality which I found was the buttons are actually trying to come out. I don't know why. Like it seems that this button is going to fall off in a while. I don't know why this has happened. But rather than that, rest of the device feels premium in hand. Now coming over to the performance of the Galaxy S10 Plus, the variant which I have is the Exynos model which came with 8GB of RAM. This is not the Snapdragon version of this phone. This is the Exynos 9820 version which came out back then. And frankly speaking, the Snapdragon version was a little bit faster as well as efficient than this Exynos version. But then also coming out to performance in 2023, the performance is nice in this phone, as it has almost been 4 years since I am using this phone, but it feels fairly faster till date. As I told, this phone has 8GB of RAM. As you can see, it also supports RAM Plus, which I have kept at 2GB, as you can see. The RAM management on this phone is very good. You can easily multitask on this phone. Now coming over to the Geekbench performance of this phone. This is the Geekbench 6 application that I have downloaded. These are the Geekbench scores, and you can see these scores are okay, I would say. Like my iPhone 14 Pro Max, for comparison, these are the scores of iPhone 14 Pro Max. You can see the multi-core score is actually the single core score of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and it is actually greater on this. As you can see, this is the bench performance. I would say is very good on this phone. Like you can easily open multiple apps like Google, Geekbench, etc., and you can do RAM management as well on this phone easily, as it has 8GB of memory. Personally, I do feel that the speakers are pretty loud on this phone. They are not as clear as my 14 Pro Max, but they are good considering it is a 4-year-old device. Now coming over to the biometrics, this phone supports facial unlock as well as in-display fingerprint scanner. So this was the first generation of in-display fingerprint scanner which was released by Samsung. So as you can see, it is pretty fast considering it is a first generation ultrasonic scanner, and it also supports facial unlock as you can see. Now coming over to the network and reception, this phone does not support 5G. So back in 2019, 5G was not available in that much phones. So this supports only 4G LTE, and the call quality etc is pretty good on this device, but you will not get 5G. Coming over to the Bluetooth, this phone has Bluetooth 5.0, so it is not 5.3, and the Type C version used here is Type C 3.1. Now coming over to the battery life of this device. So this device came with a 4100 milliampere battery, which is not removable of course. And let me show you the screen on time on this phone. So I have been using it daily for past 4 years, as you can see. So as you can see, it is easily lasting me a full day. So you can see for 4 hours and 11 minutes I used around 70% of my battery. So it is a pretty good screen on time, I would say. So you can get around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time easily on this phone. So this phone, and I have not replaced the battery since it was launched. So actually I have this app called AccuBattery which can tell the battery health. I don't know whether it is accurate or not, but it is telling that my battery health is at 80%. So I don't know how accurate is that, but the battery life is pretty good on this phone. Coming over to the charging, this phone supports 15 watts of wire charging and 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging and 15 watts of fast wireless charging also. So you can actually charge another wireless charging device with this phone, and it supports reverse wireless charging, as you can see there. So it is actually telling me to charge the phone as the battery level is pretty low, but it does support reverse wireless charging. Another reason for the better battery life on this phone might be due to that the screen on this phone refreshes at 60 Hz. So it is not a 90 or 120 Hz display, and it is not that much smooth as compared to S23 Ultra or the latest devices which are launched by Samsung. Now coming over to the camera, this phone has triple rear cameras, one wide, one ultra wide and one 2x telephoto, as well as dual cameras on the front. So the primary camera is 12 megapixel f1.5 to f2.4. So this was, I guess, the last device which launched with variable aperture. That means you can actually vary the aperture of this camera manually in this camera app. So the telephoto lens is also 12 megapixel f2.4, and it has a 16 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide camera. And the video recording on this phone can go up to 4K 60 fps, and also you can shoot 4K 60 fps videos from the front camera as well. The front camera is a 10 megapixel f1.9 camera, and the second camera is an 8 megapixel f2.2, which is used for depth sensing in portrait photos etc. So let me just fire up the camera and show you. So let this be my subject, and let's see how is photo quality on this phone. So as you can see, you can actually go pretty close on this phone. This phone does not support macro photography, and I feel that the wide angle lens is not that clear compared to other lens, and this wide angle lens also cannot do macro photography, as this was the first wide angle camera which was included in Samsung phones. So as you can see, the photo quality is pretty good on this phone. As you can see, this is a studio lighting, so you can judge according to that, and this is the captured by the telephoto lens, and this is the wide lens. So I feel that the camera quality is still good on this phone according to 2023, The ultra wide is not that great when it comes to quality, and the night modes are also good except the ultra wide lens. So in conclusion, I would like to say that this phone is pretty good in 2023. It is of course usable, it is pretty fast, but the problem is that it will not get any further Android upgrades. So if you are looking to buy this phone, then do keep in mind about that. And performance of this phone is also very good according to 2023 standards. So that's it from my side, guys, and do let me know how you feel of this Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and do let me know which phone you are using in 2023. Thank you, guys.